Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. I'm going to load this live in front of me, so if you have any very specific questions on things that I do not cover in this live, feel free to comment them, and I'm going to try to answer them before we get off of here. I hope that y'all are having a great start to your weekend. We're seeing the mixed precipitation start to come into our area, especially north of I-20 for some of our Delta counties. Issaquena stretching towards Sharkey County right now. That pink shade is going to be freezing rain. So again, going to continue to build up on the roadways as well as for the power lines. So if you see pink in your area, we really do not want you traveling at all. So that means that for Rolling Fork up towards Mayersville, Cary, and Holly Bluff, seeing that freezing rain on the ground right now. Even we've seen some towards our far northeastern counties as well. Atala County, Kosciuszko, some freezing rain right now. Again, that will head up Highway 12 there, eventually to McCool and even out of our viewing area. In Leake County, we've seen a little bit of freezing rain. So again, if you're in that area, I would definitely just try to stay inside. We want you, we try to get you prepared as best as we could for this past week, just so you can kind of be indoors right now and just be hunkering down through the storm, because this is going to be the lightest part of the storm. We're going to continue to get in on multiple rounds of some heavier precipitation. So again, we just want you to stay indoors and off those roadways for today. Now, the Jackson Metro seeing some light rain come in. Now on radar, it is that blue shade. So you can see up in our legend that is going to be some light rain. Again, that's mostly for Hinds County right now. Not in the Jackson Metro, but in the next 15 to even 30 minutes, we'll start to see that some spotty showers have been along and south of Highway 84 today. Again, that's what we're seeing in the Pine Belt, but again, no mixed precipitation, especially along and south of I-20. Now, again, we talked about all that freezing rain for the Delta friends. We really don't want you on the roadways. Kosciuszko, again, seeing that freezing rain. We've already gotten multiple storm reports across the area. This came out of Vaden, so just north of our viewing area. This was put out around 1:40 in the morning. Good morning, Kathy from Brookhaven. Again, that is a report of sleet. So that's where we see that purple color, that mix of precipitation. Again, when we see that freezing rain, that means that mostly the column of air in the sky is going to be warm except the surface. So very temperature dependent right now. And again, we're going to look at some other storm reports. Freezing rain reports all the way, and sleet reports all the way from the Golden Triangle region in Columbus, Mississippi, and up towards Starkville as well as West Point. Even some sleet and freezing rain closer to the Memphis metro, in northern Louisiana, and all through Arkansas. In Memphis, they are just getting a dumping of snow right now. Check out these storm reports. I know this is out of our area, but I know a lot of us have neighbors and friends up there early this morning. This was 6 a.m., so this was 3.5 hours ago. So accumulation has continued to build on this. Just about an inch of snow, but check out these others. Just about 2 inches of snow in Bartlett, Tennessee. Again, this is western Tennessee. Midtown Memphis, 541 this morning, 1.5 inches, so it's continued to pile on from there. 2 inches in Covington at around 6:30 this morning. Closer to Jackson, Tennessee, about 2 inches for western Tennessee, and again 2.5 inches in Jackson proper for Tennessee, not for our area. Now, also want to give you a look at Arkansas. Little Rock, they've seen a lot of snow, especially because they started getting it yesterday. They've gotten it a little bit earlier. Again, still some sleet reports, but check that out. Gibson, just north of Little Rock, Arkansas, 6 inches of snow. That's half a foot of snow, and check that out. That came in at 4:30 this morning, so definitely just a very messy system across the board. We'll continue to let you know throughout the morning our local storm reports. Again, those are going to continue to come in for the afternoon, especially because that's when we're expecting to get a little bit more of this wintry mix. So let's get right to it. We have a lot of winter weather alerts across the area, and here's what we're expecting for your neck of the woods. So ice storm warning shaded there in that purple color. That means that in all of those areas, stretching down from Adams to even Franklin County, upwards of Copiah County, Rankin County, and also to Leake County, and then westward, that means that we could get at or above 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain. And again, freezing rain means that it's going to pile up on those power lines as well as on those roadways, and it's going to be very smooth, and so it's going to be very difficult to see. That's why we don't want you out driving. That's going to be in effect for most of those areas until 6 p.m. on Sunday. Also, for that more medium purple shade, it's a little bit lighter. That is a winter weather advisory, so that is calling for the probability for Lincoln County as well as Simpson County, and for our friends in Scott and Smith County to have upwards of 1/4 of an inch of rain, or freezing rain, that is. Again, that is going to be the criteria for that ice storm. 1/4 of an inch is all it takes. Winter storm watch farther down to our south for Pike as well as for Walthall County. That means that there is some confidence that they could get a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch of ice, so still possible. That will go into effect tonight at midnight, so basically just throughout the day on your Sunday. Now, our models have updated since our early morning cut-ins. If you haven't been tuning in with us on 12 News, know that we are going to have a update for you live on television at the top of every single hour. It is going to go about 5 minutes, but also don't forget to get our WJTV Plus app. Of course, Storm Team 12 is going to be posting on our socials, but if you have that app on Roku, Fire TV, as well as Apple TV, or any of their mobile apps, that means that you can take that platform off of your TV and be more mobile with it. We are going to have radar updates on there, as well as I just posted, I think, like an 8-minute forecast. So you can also watch that on there. But we did get some updates with our in-house high resolution model that we typically rely on when it came to our ice totals. If you're watching earlier this morning, it said less than 1/4 of an inch, and I said, hey guys, we're expecting more for the Jackson Metro, and our model has taken that into consideration, and they've also updated their totals. So check this out. In Jackson, just over 4/10 of an inch. Again, that is in between 1/4 and 1/2 an inch of freezing rain of ice accumulation. Down towards Brookhaven, just over 1/10 of an inch, 1/2 an inch of ice accumulated from, that's what we're expecting from right now all the way until Sunday around lunchtime for Natchez, Port Gibson, as well as Vicksburg, Canton, just under 1/2 an inch, Kosciuszko 1/2 an inch, and then even upwards to our Delta counties. We've been saying all this time that is where we're going to have the most impacts, as well as possibly even some prolonged power outages. Yazoo City, Belzona, upwards of 3/4 of an inch to even an inch of ice. And again, remember, because that 1/4 of an inch of ice is that criteria for that ice storm, that is 200 pounds on those power lines. So power lines could be snapped. We'd see those poles snapped, especially in the Delta. So again, we don't want to scare you, but we just want to prepare you. We've been preparing you all week, and now this winter storm is upon us. So I want to let you know when is the earliest time that you could see ice in your area. Again, we are calling this a winter storm, an ice storm, because that's mainly the precipitation type that we're going to see, especially freezing rain across the area. That's going to be the most likely precipitation type, and we'll get to your next weather maker in a second. But currently for our Delta counties, this ice storm is ongoing. That is shaded there in that purple color. Once you get to green, that's going to be the next highly affected area. Again, that goes all the way from Atala County down the Big Black River all the way through Madison, Hinds, and Warren County. Even covers a little bit of Claiborne County. That's going to begin after lunchtime today. So in just under 3 hours, that's when we could start to see a little bit more of that wintry mix and freezing rain. Again, freezing rain is going to be a little bit more dangerous than sleet. So if you see that pink on the radar in your area, it is going to be a little bit more dangerous, especially because it just has a coating. It's able to not just bounce off the power lines or surfaces like sleet does, because it's more of like a circular grapple shape, but that freezing rain is just going to continue to pack and layer upon. So that's why we're talking to you seriously about this freezing rain. And then again, in that orange shade area, that is a level 2. Again, that's for Rankin County, stretching up towards Leake County. Again, these are portions that are along and just a little bit eastward of the Natchez Trace corridor, even includes a little bit of that corridor, especially once you get to Jefferson and Adams County. That's going to be after dinner time tonight, so I would say middle to later afternoon is when we're expecting the onset of that ice storm, especially for the Jackson Metro. And then after lunchtime on Sunday, we could see some ice impacts for Jasper County, stretching through the northern portions of the Pine Belt, Lawrence, Lincoln, even northern portions of Jefferson Davis and Covington County. So, okay, let's get to your next weather maker. This is what a lot of folks want to see. Our temperatures today are going to be riding just above that freezing mark. We could have a couple times where we do get to that freezing mark, especially for this afternoon. So Sunday is going to be the main impact day, especially when we're talking about that winter weather. We have a greater chance to see that freezing rain for your Sunday, and that's actually going to start into the overnight hours. So here's a look right now. Our model's doing pretty good at picking up the rain, as well as some little bits of freezing rain into the delta. Right now we're into those middle to upper 30s and reading 37 right now in Jackson. And so again, you can see that freezing line, the mix between the blues as well as those pink shades. That's going to be freezing rain versus rain. And we're expecting to get some heavier rain, especially after lunchtime for us here in Jackson. Most of that freezing rain expected to stay north of I-20, could dip briefly along I-20, especially along the Natchez Trace corridor in the Big Black River and northward. But notice our temperature is still at 34 degrees. Hattiesburg staying into the 40s today, so staying warm or warmer, but still some chilly rain is expected for that area. We may have a little bit of a lull come, I would say, 9 o'clock to midnight, but then after that, that's when things really start to get picking up. We'll have that cold front approach our area, and that means that we're going to have some heavier rain, even possibly some thunderstorms. So just like we say that we get those torrential downpours with thunderstorms, now we're expecting those torrential downpours, but also there could be some freezing precipitation in there. So that's just something to note, especially when we're thinking about how much ice can actually pile up. This starts out at 5 a.m. on your Sunday. So again, Natchez Trace corridor and northwestward from there is expecting a mix of the heavy rain and then with the freezing rains. And then look at that difference with Hattiesburg. This is 5 a.m. starting. So this is typically kind of when we see our morning low, 67 degrees. So they are going to have a morning high temperature in Hattiesburg into the 60s, but then once that frontal system comes closer to our area, that pink shade just expands, and so that's why more folks are into that ice storm warning, but also into that winter weather watch right now. So 29 degrees in Jackson by 9 a.m., so our temperatures are falling throughout the day. That's going to allow some of that freezing rain to be able to be possible downwards towards Lincoln as well as Franklin County. Hattiesburg still above freezing, but heavy rain, some thunderstorms. Also, if you were watching yesterday, we got put into a little bit of a severe weather risk for those east of I-55. Now that has been removed from all of our Pine Belt counties. So some good news there, but still torrential downpours and some thunderstorms are possible, not looking severe. Now, as we head towards Sunday at lunchtime, we're going to start to dry out for us here in Jackson, especially west of I-55. East of I-55, we're going to be into those upper 30s. Still some spots in the Pine Belt with rain by lunchtime, but eventually we're going to start to dry out by dinner time. Our temperatures will already start to sink to the 20s, 26 degrees by evening on Sunday. So again, I am expecting some of those church activities for tomorrow to start to be canceled, especially because that is when we're going to be expecting a main impact time in the time frame, especially for that winter weather. Here's what we're thinking for your winter weather impacts. Again, this will continue for all weekend. The ice buildup, possibly upwards of 3/4 of an inch. Most of these threats are going to be most heightened west of the Natchez Trace and for our Delta counties. And travel impacts are going to be moderate to high, so will power outages numerous for the Delta, possibly even lasting a few days. So that's why we just want you to have your safety kit ready. And as you're watching this, make sure that all of your devices, especially those mobile devices, are on the charger, because you never know when you're going to lose power. Speaking of power, on my other computer, I do have a look at the power outages. They've been looking all right for our area. Texas has thousands of customers without power right now, but for our viewing area, I'm looking at it around the Tri-County area, just 2 folks without power in Hinds County. Again, I don't think that that is storm related. And for the rest of Mississippi, I'm really not seeing many power outages. So that's good so far. But again, this storm is just starting in our area. We'll continue to keep you updated about those power outages, but we are expecting them to be numerous and potentially prolonged, especially for the Mississippi Delta. Dangerous cold is going to be, it's going to come for everybody. Not even going to be likely, it's going to be here. So we want you bundled up. A lot of schools have been talking about some delays or cancellations or switching to online for Monday, and that's because this dangerous cold is going to feel like those single digits on Monday. So winds still gusting behind that system moving out of our area. We're starting off dry, but lows Monday morning into the teens, feeling like the single digits. So again, if you have to head out and about, you need multiple layers, cover all of your extremities. So a hat, gloves, scarf, puffy winter coat, sweater underneath, some fluffy socks, and some winter boots is going to be what you need. Also for Tuesday morning, that will be our coldest low temperature, near 12 degrees, but feels like temperatures will still be near that threshold, especially because our winds will begin to calm down. So I know another thing that we've been telling you is to drip those pipes. We really want you to drip your pipes through the beginning of this next work week. Monday, temperatures won't be above freezing, especially with that Arctic air funneling in. Low temperatures over the next 7 mornings, into the teens for Monday and Tuesday, still into the 20s Wednesday and Thursday. Again, that is that hard freeze criteria, so continue to have those outdoor faucets wrapped and any exposed pipes wrapped, and a good idea to also have those faucets dripping. Our high temperatures will be above freezing starting on Tuesday. We're going to have a dry midweek into those middle 40s, but still that is below seasonal for this time of year. So again, not going to be warm by any means, but thankfully we'll start to see the sunshine a little bit. And then Friday and Saturday, there is a chance for some isolated scattered showers. Again, a lot of folks have also been asking about the potential for winter weather there. Reason why we've held off on that is because our models are, 1, too far out, and 2, any snapshots that you see on social media is taking a picture of one model run. So we have so many model runs throughout the day, just updating the forecast. And so that's a 1 out of 10 picture shot. And that's just for one model. Some of the models don't even, or most of the models don't even have winter weather. Again, if things change like they did for this week, we're going to keep you updated. But again, I just want you to take anything that you see on social media with a grain of salt. That's why Storm Team 12 is here. Okay, now I'm going to begin to look at these comments, see if anyone has any outstanding questions. We have some Brookhaven friends watching. Again, not going to have the greatest impact, but I did just want to let you know that ice is possible. Again, that's where we're seeing those winter storm alerts starting to pop off. So again, if you're in any of these color shaded regions, there is a possibility for ice in your area. Again, Brookhaven is under specifically sorry, I'm switching back and forth so much, but they're specifically under a winter weather advisory because some ice accumulation is possible, although it may not be upwards of, a quarter of an inch, still possible in that area. Hello, Natchez. Thank you for watching. Kathy and Letitia, as well as Tony. Good morning, Monica, watching from Vicksburg. Yes, Vicksburg friends could see about half an inch of ice, so definitely we want you to be safe on, the roadways, especially if you're an emergency worker. I know a lot of folks, that work those kinds of jobs have to travel through this. So just wanting you to be safe out there. But if you're not an emergency worker, please do not be on the roadways. Hopefully we have prepared you from now. Hi, Madison, from Brandon. Fellow Brandon folks, what about Macomb? Macomb does have a chance to see some ice, again, because they are in that winter storm watch. Again, that confidence, as you can see there, at least 50% confidence that we will just see some trace amounts of ice. But again, if your area is shaded in any of these purple or blue colors, I would expect at least a little bit of trace ice. Florence, you are going to be in that ice storm warning. So again, ice for your area as well as Natchez. Bring in your fur babies also, Kathy. That is a great thing to remember. None of them want to be out in this. And just make sure to also through this next week have an extended plan to make sure that they are inside as well as staying warm. Also, I did see online where you can put a towel or tarp down over the area that they may need to go outside and go to. So that is also a good tip. Rolling fork, Ashley, that is where we're expecting the highest impact. So we really want you to stay inside. Also, Ashley, make sure that you're having those devices charged right now, because we never know when we could lose power. Again, for your area, although the ice storm is ongoing right now, no power outages close to Rolling Fork, but again, that is expected. So again, just keep those devices charged. Barbara in Kosciuszko, again, expecting ice for your area. You are in an ice storm warning. Again, upwards of half an inch of ice. So again, that's just about 400 pounds on this power line. So also just be aware that you could have some power outages in your area. That looks like a very likely threat. Flowwood and Brandon, similar to the metro, anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to half an inch of ice. Again, these threats are similar for all these areas shaded there in purple. So even if you're in the Pine Belt, we're going to have some thunderstorms that will have torrential downpours heading into your Sunday. So really not going to want to leave the house as at all. Tina is asking, yes, you will see ice in Madison tomorrow. In Greenwood, that's where we're expecting those highest impacts. Again, ice upwards of 3/4 of an inch to an inch of ice. Valerie, we really want you to stay inside and also have those devices charged, and make sure that you have your safety kit ready to go. Okay, well, I have to sign off and start this next cut-in. Again, WJTV at the top of every single hour from 7 a.m. this morning to, I would say, about Sunday come lunchtime or just after. We are going to have cut-ins throughout the nighttime as well, overnight, at the top of every hour, giving you a forecast update. Also, you can check our website, our 12 News weather and news apps. We're going to give you the forecast updates on there. Also, if you haven't downloaded already, our WJTV Plus app on Roku, Fire TV, as well as Apple TV, and then those mobile apps associated with those, they will have radar updates, so you can look at that. But also, I'll be uploading forecasts on there, and also we have reporters out throughout the day that are going to be reporting from your local communities on the storm reports there. So again, I'm going to sign off and do this cut-in. Tune into 12 News. We'll give you more updates there, and stay safe and warm, and I will talk to you all soon.